Hello everyone, this is your Unit 4, Authors, Techniques, and Tools Remediation video. So here's the first text, Poem 1, called The Tiger by William Blake. And here's the read aloud link. All right. You can see I numbered the lines to show when we go through our most missed questions, I can refer to line 2, line 10, line 18, and so on and so forth. So our first most missed question was question number 1. The archetypal image of fire is used frequently in this poem. This archetype represents power. Which statement best explains how this archetype creates meaning in the poem? So first you need to know what is an archetype, and then you need to know how does this archetype create meaning in the poem. So if we look at our answer choices here, A, this archetype develops the idea that power is both dangerous and violent and should be feared. B, the image of fire reinforces the idea that power is beautiful and enticing. Or C, by uniting the image of a tiger with that of fire, Blake shows readers that powerful beings should not be feared, but should be celebrated. So our first vocabulary word that we need to know is archetype. What is an archetype? It's a character, a situation, or a symbol that represents something universal about human nature or the human experience. Well, this archetype in the question here, this archetypal image of fire is used frequently in this poem. This archetype represents power. So fire is representing the idea of power, and that is a symbol. This is an archetype symbol. And so something that stands for something, a symbol, is something that stands for something else in literature. So we have a symbolic archetype. Fire represents power. Now, if we go back into our poem here, we have line 1 says, tiger, tiger, burning bright. This word burning, right? That could reference fire, right, and heat. And then we have line 4, the word fearful. Fearful. Okay. So here we get something that's burning bright is fearful. Okay. And then we have line 6. Whoops. There. Burnt the fire of thine eyes. Again, burnt, right? Burning. We have the word fire. And then we have again in line 8, what the hand dare seize the fire. What the hand dare seize the fire. So we have fire again. Then we have in line 14, in what furnace was thy brain? A furnace is hot, it's heat, it's burning fire, right? And then we have the word dread in line 15. And then in the line 16, we have deadly terrors. Okay, I'm seeing a pattern. Fire is not so good, right? It's bad. Here's the word dread again, twice in line 12. Whoops. What dread hand and what dread feet. Okay. Then we have again in line 21, whoops, tiger, 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 tiger burning bright. And then we have again the word fearful. So, the image of fire reinforces the idea that power is beautiful and enticing. I don't think so. I didn't see a lot of beauty and enticing words and images there. By uniting the image of a tiger with that of fire, Blake shows readers that powerful beings should not be feared but should be celebrated. Again, I didn't see a lot of celebration there in that poem. I saw a lot of fear, fearful, dread, right? And so this archetype develops the idea that power is both dangerous and violent and should be feared. That image goes along with the poem and the words that we looked at, right? The lines that we looked at. So symbols use something concrete or physical to represent something that is abstract, right? So fire, something physical like fire, you can touch it, you can see it, you can feel, you can sometimes even smell it, right? Or hear it. Fire can represent the idea of power. So fire represents the idea of power in this poem. And so in this poem, fire is dangerous and violent. It's dangerous and violent. So since fire stands for power here, the poem is saying that power should be feared. All right, and that's how we get our correct answer, A. Then we have our second text, our poem 2, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. And here's the read aloud link there. And again, we have lines, and we can refer back to those specific lines as we go over our question here. So question 8. And we're also going to go over question 9 that goes along with this poem as well. Question 8. How does the rhyme pattern in each stanza relate to the rhyme pattern in the whole poem? How does the rhyme pattern in each stanza relate to the rhyme pattern in the whole poem? A, it repeats itself in every stanza. B, it is different in every stanza. C, it alternates between stanzas. So if it repeats itself in every stanza, that means that every single stanza has the same rhyming pattern, right? There's a rhyming pattern here, then same here, then it repeats here again, and it repeats here again. And that is our correct answer. So is it different in every stanza? That means that, this would have its own rhyming pattern, and then this would have its own rhyming pattern, and then this would have a different rhyming pattern, and this would have a different rhyming pattern, but we don't see that here. It alternates between stanzas means like stanza 1, lines 1 through 6, and stanza 3, lines 13 through 18 would have the same rhyming pattern. But then stanza 2 and 4, lines 7 through 12 and 19 through 24 would have a different rhyming pattern than stanzas 1 and 3. So it would go like rhyming pattern A, then rhyming pattern B, then rhyming pattern A, then rhyming pattern B. That would be alternating rhyming patterns. But we don't see that here either. So the first thing we want to know is poetic structure. Poetic structure is the organization of lines and the patterns of sound within a poem. Okay, so the organization of lines, that's, here we have 4 stanzas. Here's a group of lines here, that's stanza 1. A group of lines here, that's stanza 2. A group of lines here, that's stanza 3. And a group of lines here, that's stanza 4. So that's how it is organized. But then we have the patterns of sound, right? The patterns of sound. Sometimes that's a beat or a rhythm, and sometimes that's rhyme, right? So rhyme is the use of like-sounding words or word endings at the end of or within lines of poetry. Okay, so rhyming words, they sound the same. And they can be at the end of a line of poetry, like we have here: cloud, crowd, hills, daffodils, trees, and breeze, shine, line, way, bay, glance, and dance, right? Or they can be within lines of poetry, which I don't know if we have here or not, but we're going to focus on the end rhyme. Then we have a stanza. A stanza is a group of lines that form a unit in a poem. So how does the rhyme pattern in each stanza, in each group of lines, relate to the rhyme pattern in the whole poem? So our rhyming scheme or rhyming pattern is A, B, A, B, C, C. This rhyming pattern repeats in every stanza. So if we look at our rhyming pattern, we have cloud and crowd, hills and daffodils, trees and breeze. That's an A, B, C, C rhyme scheme. Now let's look at our second stanza: shine, line, way, bay, glance, and dance. Again, that is an A, B, C, C rhyme pattern. All right, so these 2 stanzas have the same rhyme scheme or rhyming pattern. We have they, gay, glee, company, thought, and brought. A, B, C, C. Same rhyme scheme, same rhyming pattern. And then lie, I, mood, solitude, fills, daffodils. A, B, C, C. Same rhyme scheme. Okay? So all of these stanzas, all of these groups of lines in the entire poem, all of them share the same rhyming pattern. So that takes us to our correct answer, A. It repeats itself in every stanza. That rhyming pattern is throughout the whole poem. Let me see if I have any notes. No. Okay. So then we have question 9. Which lines from the poem best shape the theme that the memories of something beautiful can bring lasting joy? Which lines from the poem best shape the theme that the memory of something beautiful can bring lasting joy? So we need to know what theme is. Theme is the main message that an author wants to communicate to a reader. The main message that an author wants to communicate to a reader. And the theme in this poem is that one of the themes in this poem is that the memory of something beautiful can bring lasting joy. So let's look at our answer choices. A, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. B, I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. Or C, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. So C is our correct answer. Let's look into our poem here. These 2 lines, they flash upon that inward eye, and which is the bliss of solitude. These are lines 21, and 22. If we read the entire stanza so that we have those two lines in context, starting in line 19. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. So it makes more sense, these two lines make a lot more sense in context of the entire stanza. And so when we look at our options here, really C makes the most sense, that goes with that theme, that the memory of something beautiful can bring lasting joy, right? They flash upon that inward eye. An inward eye is kind of looking inward, looking into thoughts, looking into memories, right? Looking inward to ideas. And then the bliss. The bliss means joy or happiness, right? And so the poem is about the wandering speaker how the wandering speaker came upon the scene of great natural beauty. It's kind of wandering around aimlessly, and he comes to this place with beautiful flowers. And in these two lines, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. This is at the end of the poem. The speaker is remembering how he felt about that place. His emotions about the flowers were of pure delight and bliss, and his memory brings up that happy feeling again and again. And so every time he or she, I should say, the speaker remembers or thinks about that place with the flowers, it brings him joy, or her. It brings the speaker joy. Okay, so we can look at those two lines, and they shape that theme, that the memory of something beautiful can bring lasting joy, right? So then we come to our third text, our poem 3, Fern Hill by Dylan Thomas. And here's the read aloud link there. It's very long. Here's the first half of it. Here's the Fern Hill continued, the second half of it. And I have put line numbers there for reference. Okay. We're going to go over question number 15. Question 15. Read these lines from the poem. And nothing I cared at my sky blue trades that time allows, in all his tuneful turning, so few and such morning songs. And nothing I cared at my sky blue trades that time allows, in all his tuneful turning, so few and such morning songs. All right. So how does this imagery affect the poem? How does this imagery affect the poem? A, it describes a boy singing in the bright morning. B, it creates a sense of everlasting summer. Or C, it points out that childhood is short-lived. All right, so what is imagery? Imagery is descriptive or figurative language that creates a mental picture for readers. Imagery, descriptive or figurative language that creates a mental picture for readers. Okay, so let's look at this imagery. Sky blue trades, tuneful turning, morning songs. Okay. So it might describe a boy singing in the bright morning. It might create a sense of everlasting summer. But how does this imagery affect the poem? We really want to look a little bit deeper into what this all means. So, this is all right, these two lines are in this stanza here. Okay. And nothing I cared at my sky blue trades that time allows in all his tuneful turning, so few and such morning songs. If we look at that by itself, it doesn't have a lot of meaning, but if we look at those two lines, lines 43 and 44, in the entire stanza in context, it might make a little bit more sense. So let's take a look. And starting at line 38. And honored among foxes and pheasants by the gay house, under the new-made clouds and happy as the heart was long, in the sun born over and over, I ran my heedless ways. My wishes raced through the house high hay. And nothing I cared at my sky blue trades that time allows, in all his tuneful turning, so few in such morning songs, before the children green and golden follow him out of grace. So in that stanza, those two lines make a lot more sense in context here. Okay, and so if we look at what the entire poem is about, if we look at our summary, which you were given in the study guide. The summary for the poem, Fern Hill, this poem is about childhood memories and about growing old. In the poem, the speaker describes the farm he visited in his youth and recreates a child's view of a beautiful and innocent world. Throughout the poem, he talks about how happy he was as a youngster and how oblivious he was that youth was passing. And so if we look at just these two lines, and nothing I cared, right? He didn't really care about what was going on, especially, time. Time is personified here as a person, right? So his tuneful turning, right? Time is allowing in all his tuneful turning, okay? Time keeps going and going and turning, right? Even though this person is not aware, right? So few in such morning songs. So even though this person is young and having fun at this farm, and it's a beautiful place and experience, this person is pointing out that even though they didn't care about time, time kept turning, right? And those morning songs were getting fewer and fewer. So it really does point out that childhood is short-lived, right? Pointing out that childhood is short-lived. Childhood is fleeting. It's there and then it's gone in a blink of an eye. It doesn't last very long. It's over quickly, right? And so when we look at the meaning of the entire poem and even the meaning of just that stanza, these two lines make a lot more sense, right, to go along with the meaning of the poem. All right, so in your LAC1 English online course, you're going to go into the online lesson 4.13, okay, Unit 4, Lesson 13. And please retake the Unit 4 test for a higher score. Use this remediation video to help you understand the 4 most missed questions and then retake the Unit 4 test for a higher score. Good luck!